Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. It's with deep gratitude that we have offered our Nama Pushpas, the Nama flowers, at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. For this great opportunity to be able to sing in His presence. We have been going through some glimpses from the lives of Bhagwan's devotees, wherein we see how Bhagwan's grace helps, guides and protects people. Today's story runs like a thriller. It's again a story of His Nama's glory. It happened in 2000. She is Surya Murthy, family, Shanbaka Pushpam Amma, and her husband Jayaraj Nada. The whole family began to come from 1975, and the parents promptly passed on the virtue of devotion to their children, and the children also grew up rooted in bhakti towards Bhagwan. And of course, bhakti towards Bhagwan can only mean one thing, His Nama chanting. Bhagwan always emphasized upon chanting His name. He would often say, this form, pointing to His own form, this is nothing. This body is perishable. Concentrate on the name. The name is everything. The name will do everything. And you don't have to come all the way spending so much money and time. You just have to call out this beggar wherever you are. And this beggar would come running to you to set things right. Now we shall see. She, Surya Murthy, was running a company. It's a port city, Tuticorin, that is where the whole family lives. He's running a business in the name Port City Nidhi Limited. At the same time, before the Christmas comes every year, he would collect orders from different families for a cake, biscuits, the bakery products. Because he was also running ultra confectionaries. Now one day, 2 or 3 days before Christmas, he went about collecting orders for the cakes and biscuits and whatnot. And it became 9:30, late in the night. When he started his car He did not employ any driver. He was always doing the driving himself. So he just got into the car, was about to put his hand on the steering wheel. And suddenly, the car was surrounded by 3 gundas, 3 ruffians. One of them pushed him inside to the middle seat and seated himself in the driver's seat. The other one quickly came the other side and he was seated. This end, the third one got into the back seat and held a revolver right near the head of Surya Murthy. He was overpowered by these people and he had no way to defend himself. And being a devoted family for a number of years, he did not resist them. Instead, he started chanting the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar. What else could he do? And the man in the seat, driver's seat, started driving the car a little distance away. He asked Surya Murthy if anybody was expecting him to return. Surya Murthy said, of course, my wife is there. She would be expecting me to return any moment now. Then they forced him to make a call to his wife, saying they knew all the details about Surya Murthy. They were well informed. So they said, you tell them you have an office in Nagarkoil. You tell her that you are going to the Nagarkoil office. So that at that time the cell phone had come. So he spoke from the cell phone to his wife, saying that he was going to the Nagarkoil office. As soon as he finished it, the gundas cut him off, that is, cut off the phone. The wife, on the other end, sensed something was wrong because she knew that he would not go off like that to Nagarkoil office. And the way he cut off the phone was not like him at all. A wife devoted to her husband is highly intuitive. She knew instantly that something was far wrong. She felt very disturbed. And the next thing that she did was sit before Bhagwan's photo and start chanting the name. She was highly disturbed. She was not convinced that he was going. And in the meantime, they tied his eyes with a black cloth and started to drive away from Tuticorin. They were driving on, and there was no way he could know where they were going. At one point, they pulled him to the back seat, still holding the revolver. When he was describing, I asked him if they tied up his hands also behind. He said, no, they didn't do that. Probably because I was chanting the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar, I did not put up any resistance. And he also said that because he was chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar, he felt a strange peace inside. And somehow he felt assured that Bhagwan would take care of things. So he was not resisting at all. But on the way, they were asking him the details about his business, and they wanted a ransom. They said, you have to give us 1 crore rupees if you want us to release you. Then he said, his mouth was free. So he said, how can you say that? I don't have that kind of money. And then immediately he would close his mouth and start chanting. Again they pursued and they kept on asking him this and that. So there was a hassle, and finally they came down to 15 lakhs. In the meantime, as they were going from one place to the other, at some points there was what they call, in those days there was no toll gate, there was a checkpoint. And whenever the checkpoint came, immediately they would push it down, push his head down, so that he wouldn't be seen. And after that, he was free to sit up, but still the revolver was there. And they continued to persuade him to pay more money. So this was going on and on. He had no way to know where they were going. And finally, about 4 o'clock in the morning, they reached a place and took him to a house and put him there. They did not give him anything to eat. He had taken a little food in the afternoon, but he was also in no mood for any food. And he strangely, the Nama held him in peace, and he was just waiting for the right moment when Bhagwan would start acting. So this went on about 9:30. They forced him to make a call to his office. In the meantime, his wife Shanti was chanting Bhagwan's name and was waiting for the day, for the dawn. When it was about 4 or 5 o'clock, when she could reach out to people, she phoned up to her brother, saying that Surya Murthy did not turn up the night and something was far wrong. And of course, immediately her brother came to help. He went to the police station, reported the missing of Surya Murthy, and alerted those people there. And the police in turn began their action immediately. They formed a team of 15 people, and they knew that a phone call would come to his office. So in both the office, a sub-inspector was kept there ready. And when he rang up to his office, to his secretary there, the manager of the office, it's a lady by name Geeta, and she took the phone. By then she knew something because the inspector was sitting by her side. So they were all alarmed, alerted. And then the other side, Surya Murthy said, "You just keep 15 lakhs ready. A man by name Raja will come with the bag. You have to hand over this 15 lakhs. And before he said anything further, they cut the phone off. And then again, they made him say that they would meet this Raja in Madurai. This Raja must have been used to this kind of business. These people had acted once before. They had done the same thing to someone else in Tuticorin before. This was the second time. And now, after this, they started from there, from Namakkal. And by the time they came to Madurai, it was late, so before they came to Madurai, they rang up to this Raja to come to Sattur. Sattur is near Shivkasi. In the meantime, Mr. Raja came with a bag only to see the sub-inspector there, and the policeman immediately arrested him. And then they extracted all the details about this group. And Raja had no other go And then the police made Mr. Raja phone up to these people that he was coming to Satur with the money. And he mentioned the spot also. So these men, those ruffians, were very happy that everything was working out so well. So when they reached Satur, a certain place where they had mentioned already, and they stopped the car, by then 15 policemen were ready around. They could not be seen by the people, car people. They were in hiding. But as soon as the car stopped and these people got down, they were surrounded. All the three of them were caught by the police, and Raja was already with the police. And Surya Murthy was saying that he knew all along that Bhagwan would definitely do something. It was not for him to be even alarmed. Hadn't Bhagwan promised that he would come to the rescue of his devotees when they call out? And what would have been a terrible affair turned out to be a blessing for the entire Tuticorin, because the whole gang was caught by the police. Now, let's just run through the whole thing, gallop through the whole thing. When Surya Murthy was taken over, unexpectedly, unawares, who made him chant the name? More often than not, in such situations, there are people who would forget it also. Just at that moment, they would forget. They would remember everything else except Nama. So to be able to remember the name in time is pure grace. And again, when he phoned up, who gave the doubt to Shanti, his wife? How did she intuit that something was wrong? And who made her chant Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama and pray? And again, her brother acted promptly, reaching out to the police. At every level, when you go through an incident, at every level, you see the divine hand behind it, arranging and arranging and arranging things in favor of the devotee. Though at times it might look just the opposite, one can be very sure the divine, being divine, cannot possibly harm, especially when the devotee calls out. So this is the inspiration. This is the rescue. Unfailing rescue, unfailing grace of Bhagwan in times of great crisis. When the children come here, when I see families bringing children, and we hear so many stories about the harm being done to the children, I tell them immediately, it doesn't matter whether you give them education or not, it doesn't matter if you keep property for them or not, but please give them the asset of Nama. Just teach them some name of God or Yogi Ramsuratkumar, so that when the children, once they come out of the school, come out of the house to go to the school, the parents cannot accompany them. But if you teach them the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar, you can be very, very sure Bhagwan would accompany them, which is more than what you can ask for. much more than the security that you can provide. The children, especially in these times, in Kali Yuga, anything can happen anytime. Just think, a teeny, tiny virus is holding the entire world in its dreadful grip. What can we say about the course of things? Nama is our best companion. Nama is our savior. So the women, the working women, the girls who go to school and colleges, and the children, they must carry the name because that would be their protection. Bhagwan would definitely protect them. There are many incidents how Bhagwan had protected women and children. So the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar is our constant companion. No one can give us such security as Bhagwan's Nama. Bhagwan's Nama is Bhagwan himself. Nama is Nami. And this Bhagwan is here, right in front of us. With his hand raised in benediction. And as I keep telling you again and again, Bhagwan is standing, though he is facing the south like Dakshinamurti. He is not sitting like Dakshinamurti. He preferred this. Why? In order to tell people how alert he is, how wakeful he is all the time. There is no way he could go to sleep. He is aware, he is conscious of his devotees all the time and ready with a ready flow of grace from his hand. Bhagwan often said, which I am repeating almost every day because there is necessity, those who enter this ashram will not go back empty-handed. Bhagwan's Father's blessings are pouring on people who come here. Bhagwan added, whether they are aware of it or not, it is the truth. So you just have to come in and go out, even 5 minutes. I see many people, even when they enter, they will enter in a hurry. And then they will walk very fast. Because they will have other programs waiting for them. So they'll be in a great hurry. And they will come and they'll just go around once. And within a few minutes, they would be out. And I used to wonder what would they do in those few minutes? They must be thinking of the next program all the time, right from the moment they enter, but it doesn't matter. Bhagwan is aware of them. They have entered his Vaikunta, his Kailasha. And whether they worship Bhagwan or not, Bhagwan has no reservation at all. And they would be drenched in his shower of blessings. Such is the glory of Shakti here. Now Surya Murthy, after this incident, they were already very devoted to Bhagwan. And now they have assurance in action how Bhagwan takes care of them. Now today, Shri Surya Murthy is running a temple in Tuticorin. He has built a temple in his land and bought some land adjacent to that, and there's regular Nama chanting going on. He is being assisted by Sri Pradeep, son of Rajeshwari Amma, in Tuticorin. And he has understood the necessity of his name, Bhagwan's Nama, being chanted, that it should reach out all the people who are in need of it. Nama can also take avatar. There are already many namas of many gods, Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Shakti, Muruga, Vinayaka. There were so many. Then why is this? What is the necessity for a new Nama? Just as incarnations take place when they are needed, Nama can also take avatar. It is an incarnation of Nama, the divine name, because there is necessity for this name, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And that is why it has come. And what is more, it is working. It is fulfilling the wants and needs of his devotees. Many, many devotees experience that the help is immediate, especially in crisis, in emergencies. The help is total and immediate. So we should pray to Bhagwan, submit our today's prayers. We shall keep on submitting it at him, at his feet. And I am sure, because Bhagwan had often repeated, no single Nama goes waste, no prayer goes waste. Every prayer would be answered sometime or the other, the time being chosen by God. It's bound to respond. So we shall say, Bhagwan, it is nothing that you already do not know. Here, the situation of the world, how there is so much panic. We bow to you again and again and invoke a huge grace to free the entire world from the clutches of this dreadful virus and bring back normalcy based upon human values. They were sadly lacking before this virus struck. We heard how millions, thousands of animals are being killed for one dinner party. How many animals are killed for a delicious dish on your dining table? Just think for a moment. For every being, be it an animal or a plant, before the death occurs, there would be terrible fear. The animals, they have instinctive intelligence. The human beings have intuitive intelligence. The animals have instinctive intelligence. And they would know somehow they're going to be killed. And sometimes it's simply butchering. And there is so much pain of death and fear of death. And in the flesh that you eat as a very tasty food on your dining table, that fear and pain are impressed. It's just for the information. So many such things have been happening. Now relatively the animals are free and joyful. We've been seeing pictures of animals happily crossing the roads, but not anymore. Anyway, the awareness has come. So now we shall seek Bhagwan's grace again and again for bringing normalcy based upon human values. Bhagwan, kindly remove the panic from the hearts of people and arrest the spread of the disease. And please enter the vaccine. Some doctors had come this afternoon to the ashram and they told me the vaccines have arrived in Chennai and they are starting. So he came to have darshan of Bhagwan, take his blessings before that. And first the doctors have to take it because they are struggling day and night, fighting the disease at the very risk of their life. So all those medical people. So this is another prayer to Bhagwan. Bhagwan, kindly enter this vaccine so that it would work. Kill the virus. And Bhagwan, the medicine should reach out to people who truly deserve it. And there should be no scam about it. People are ready to make money out of anything. So Bhagwan should stand by for its regulation. And Bhagwan, please give them all a protection, all those brave soldiers, the medical people, and others who help them in the field. And above all, we need a huge grace for a lift, a boost to the economy. And we seek your blessings again and again for constant remembrance of your name. And please give us the attitude of gratitude to go about our life as a good instrument in your hands. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.